Moving past the Gladiator, which again, I mostly liked. Defiled Sorcerer, I thought was really interesting. I think it had a lot of potential. And it did, so it plays with a system that I had homebrewed and sort of played with a couple years ago, which is like overcasting spells using hit points as a burnable resource. So that was super cool. But as we said before, it just feels like it could have been more. I just kind of wanted more from it, just kind of push its features a little farther. And then finally, I mean, Sorcerer King. The naming here doesn't make any goddamn sense, and I don't feel like we needed a second Psionic Warlock, but it also, like, kind of isn't a Psionic Warlock.
I was going to say, it's not at all a Psionic Warlock. What?
Well, it uses psionic spell casting.
Yeah, but that's the one thing it does that uses the word psionic.
Right, but because it's a psionic spellcaster, it's a psionic warlock. Because you're getting into like coded language with, it's not pact casting, it's psionic casting, because they're making that distinction now.
Well, you're still pact cast. You still use pact casting. Like, you're still a warlock. Still use regular warlock casting.
Yes, sort of. It's
no, literally. What? You still use pact magic the same way.
But the way that you cast the spells is different because you don't require components. Like, it shifts it to a different avenue. It's odd.
I don't think the implication was that it's psionic so much as just like a force of will type thing. Yeah, they use the word psionic casting, but there's nothing else about it that implies psionic anything other than the word psionic casting. Words.
That's kind of the issue, right? Is that it very specifically references psionic casting, which is a type of casting, but nothing.
I think they just use that word to get the point across because they've used it in other places, so you kind of know what it means when they phrase it that way. I think you're reading
right, but it does actually have a mechanic. Well, I'm not though, because it has a mechanical implication.
Yes, I know that. I'm saying I think you're reading too much into the name choice. Like, they could have called it fucking brain casting or like fucking, I don't know, will cast or whatever, like soul cast. Like, it could have called it a lot of things.
Right, but they didn't. They called it psionic casting, which is coded language.
Yeah, I think they do a similar thing. I think it was just a case of being too lazy to like come up with another name, to be honest. I really think
I don't know what you want to think. They should have used a different name then. Like, they do a similar thing in the same UA where they talk about, it allows you to critically hit your foes, but you're not actually critting your foes. Well, you're using coded language to describe a non-coded thing.
But the word psionic has no mechanical implication, though.
It does, though.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. There's no mechanic.
Yes, it does.
There's no mechanic in the book that says, if you see the word psionic, that means this, that, and this. That's not a thing.
It is, though. Psionic casting is casting without using verbal or material components.
No, it's just happens. No. See, no. You're flipping the symptom and the cause here. Anytime there is a class that has the ability to ignore the verbal and somatic components or whatever, or the verbal, ignore components, basically, they use the word psionic to call, like, as just like a theme, like a naming theme, like a scheme. But there's nothing in the book that says, if you see the word psionic on an ability, it means X, Y, and Z. However, there is something in the book that says this is a critical hit. The words critical hit mean X, Y, and Z. So yes, in the case of the Gladiator, them putting the word critical hit in the description was probably a bad idea because that can cause mechanical confusion. Whereas the word psionic does not have any built-in mechanical meaning to it. They just use it in the same place as to stay on brand, quote unquote.
I get what you're saying. I disagree. I believe it absolutely does have mechanical implication. I even said it before. It has mechanical implication. Like, yeah,
you can say it all you want. I think you're wrong. Like, I don't think that's the idea. Like, there's a big difference between the player's handbook calls out a specific mechanic with a specific key. Like, there's no keyword. There's no psionic keyword in the game. That doesn't exist. There is a keyword for critical hit, or keywords, but there's no keyword for psionic. There's not like a glossary or a reference or anything. There's no It's not like the word action, which has a very key word to it, right? It means a very specific thing. Psionic doesn't have that. It's just a theming. Every time they come up with something, it's like, we're staying on theme, so we're going to call this psionic because it's sort of within the brand of the like how we design quote unquote psionic things, but it has no mechanical keyword to it. It's not like in Magic, if something says trample on the bottom, it means a very specific ruling that doesn't exist in this case. And should they maybe have not called it psionic casting because it reads odd given what the subclass is supposed to be? Yeah, it reads a little odd. But I don't think you can assume, like, you can't assume this is why anything based on the name. Like,
this is why I think you
because
can.
They could have called it. They could have called it psionic casting, and it could have been like, this ability lets you cast once a day for free without looking at your target. And they could have just put the name psionic casting on it.
Right, but
like, it would have been the same.
Yes, what I'm saying is that it's sort of creating a common law situation where you reuse the phrasing so much and force it to abide by the same rules each time you use it. And as you keep doing it, the rule sort of builds itself.
Yes, but the
mechanic
design
will build
of the game
itself based on how often you do it, and they are doing it quite a bit. They've done it quite a bit since psionics were introduced into the actual game with things like the soul knife and all that shit.
Yes, thematically it causes confusion, but mechanically you cannot base any kind of mechanical basis or assumptions off of it because the game is not designed that way. You can't.
We're gonna be here forever because we're gonna be here forever because I believe me. I disagree.
Let's put it this way. If you're having a rules lawyer argument and you try and use the word psionic as some sort of rules lawyer defense, the designers would say no, that you can't. That's not how you would rule that. It's a general versus specific thing, right? Like they would be like, no, you can't rule it that way because there's no general rule about psionics. You know what I mean?
Yes, but there are a myriad of specific rules that are creating a general theme. And yes, I'll give you that they are thematic, but it is creating a general through line to which you can assume mechanics should be placed.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's nothing.
That's what you don't assume. Stop assuming. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
But you can though, because you've got precedent. The precedent is what allows the assumption. But you should and shouldn't is kind of irrelevant. If there is precedent, that's the information you have to go off of.
But if you know that there is,
I don't know.
General.
That's kind of the issue. Is that even then?
But you do
now,
know because you know there's nothing
I
in
know
the book
because
that
you
is
just told me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't know priorhand. I know they're introducing a Scion class. For all we know, that could be the mechanical implication. They can be establishing it farther down the line.
But you
which
do
would
know
retroactively make it mechanical.
Sure, if they release a source book and create a general rule that is, if you see the word psionic, it means this, then retroactively it would apply to things, and then you're in a situation where you have to go back and look at all old stuff, which would be messy, which is why I don't think they're going to do that, because that would be a huge pain in the ass.
And yet they might. Again, we are getting a real, like an official psionic class.
Maybe. We don't know that for a fact. We might be getting a class. But even if we get that class, I don't think they're going to put any kind of general rules about what the word psionic, like, it's not going to become a keyword. I really doubt it. Because that would create such a mess with all of those subclasses they've already made. Like, you'd be beholden to the old shit that you wrote down.
I don't know what to tell you. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like there is a good chance that either could happen.
I'd be fucking shocked if they did that because that would be stupid. Let's put it that way.
It'd be stupid, but there wouldn't be any, like, I'm not sure what the other recourse would be. If they do make that psionic class, you're hard pressed to go, well, this is how this will work, but all this other stuff doesn't have
to work the same way. No, it could be similar, but you can't. Like, the psionic class basically will have its own specific rules, and then some subclasses that might reference psionics as a theme. Do not assume that because the Scion class did it this way, then this class also does it that way. Don't do that.
Well,
You know what I mean?
they'll likely, oh, okay, now I think about it, what they will likely do is they'll do it to a degree, right? They will errata things together. We've seen them do that plenty of times. We're probably just going to get an errata that tells us how to generally think of things. And then,
Maybe.
Unfortunately, it will be sort of a case-by-case basis, because that is what we've also seen precedent of them doing, even through fully completed books, right? That's what the Sage Advice Compendium is.
I still think that's a really bad idea and that they definitely should not do that.
Fair enough. I mean, I can't tell you can't have that one, but yeah. Moving on to another thing with terrible naming conventions. Fucking Sorcerer King, literally why?
I mean, I get what they're going for.